What's good, chat? Let's get it. It's late tonight, but have a good time. Tired, but gotta grind, don't stop. We're gonna have a good time tonight. Got some videos for us to sit back, chill, react to tonight. Let's get it. Let's make sure this is straight. All right, let's get it, y'all. First video tonight. Flight is in a Under Armour commercial with Steph Curry. I gotta see this. Flight though, bro. You might say an Under Armour commercial with Steph, but it ain't really like that. Let's see.
That was hit up, you know what I'm saying? And then they were just they had this, commercial coming up. You know what I'm saying? For Curry's new shoes or whatever like that. It was the actual Under Armour itself. And then they just basically asked, do we have permission to use an old clip and everything like that? We're gonna basically have a commercial, whatever. And they've been saying this for the last 3 months. And honestly, after the third month, I thought it honestly wasn't even gonna happen. So that's why I didn't even
Hey, this might be for real. No cap, this might be for real.
Announce anything, and that's why I don't announce anything unless it.
Cause Flight do got mad clips with talking about Steph Curry. That's his boy, so let's see.
Is about to actually happen. You know what I'm saying? But man, we got something absolutely so inspirational, man. Now, you know what I'm saying?
Let's see.
We gotta link this a little bit crazy. Early on, it was a really, really short clip, and obviously I was much aware of it going on. But your man Dut reacts, and it's so fresh, so clean commercial. With Steph Chef, look at Curry, man. Hey man, shout out to Curry, shout out to Under Armour, shout out to most important athletes.
Come on, Flight.
Brothers and sisters, man. You know what I'm saying? Curry's new shoes are actually being released, I think, this week. You know what I'm saying? So be sure to go check them out. But man, we're gonna check out this commercial, man. We got a little appearance in this bit. Just keep your eyes open.
What does it mean to change the game?
The hell was that?
Change the game. The game.
There we go.
Is it a single moment? Something that just happens?
Yo.
Or do you build it?
Just wait for it. Wait for it. Keep your eyes open.
Look at Curry, man.
Yo! Yeah, I know you seen that. I thought it was actually later on.
Let's get it, Flight. Hey, my man's had a little cameo. Hey, respect. Flight done grinded for a long time to get to where he at, man. He didn't grind it for a long time to get to where he at.
Bro,
Look at Curry.
yes, sir. I wish, bro, OBS needs to make an update where you can have a highlighter and circle, you know what I'm saying, live on stream. That need to be a W edit. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, OBS should come out with
high key.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just playing. But look, yo, mama, we made it again.
That's
so
fire.
So clean Under Armour commercial.
That's fire.
I think when we seen the when he followed us and everything. 2020. Yo, hold on. Rewind.
What does it mean to change?
Rewind.
You ain't gotta watch the whole thing. Get Flight. Come on now, boy.
Look at Curry, man.
Guys, holy.
You hear the look at Curry, man? It's so inspirational.
Oh my gosh, my light just fell out. Yo, guys.
Come on, Flight.
Man. You know what I'm saying? You guys.
Look at Curry, man. It's so inspirational.
Yo.
Respect to Flight, bro. Long time coming.
Inspirational hit too in the audio.
Look at Curry, man. So inspirational. So that's just what it is.
That's fire.
What happens then?
Damn.
That's fire.
Hey man, come on, man.
Hey, much love to Flight. Much love to Flight. That's fire. Congrats, bro. Congrats. That's dope. That's dope. Alright, next video of the night. Cooking during college lectures with Kai Sanat. Let's get it, y'all. Hope y'all can hear that.
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. I know y'all tired of eating this. so I got some eggs. No sleep, only jet lag, baby. Alright, so y'all, you feel what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie, last night, I don't know if you guys heard the news, but based off this, you guys can see right here, I got banned from Twitch.
What? Restoring versus
For 30 days for some bullshit. You feel what I'm saying? So.
Oh, okay. This was months ago.
Free casting that. You know what I'm saying?
I'm about to say, never did
Twitch
Twitch ban
they
highest
I'm on
sub
full time now,
streamer
being a menace until further notice. You feel what I'm saying? So right now we at the University
on YouTube
of Georgia.
full time being a
Right
menace.
here, Double Trouble. Yes, y'all may know him. Y'all may know him from bailing videos. Anytime I need some college stuff, I had to come to the school real quick. You feel what I'm saying? So how many people are in this class?
I said yes, sir.
Minimum like 250.
250. Minimum. Oh my gosh.
What school do they go to, bro? 250? 250? Dog, when I was in school, bro, average class size was like 20 students, bro.
Beautiful out here. Minimum 250 people in this class.
I don't think I ever had a class with 250 students. I think my biggest class was a freshman year seminar with like 100 students in it. 250? That's crazy.
Dude, I just see you out of title. I'm doing cooking in college lecture. I have a skillet. I have my eggs. I have my bacon. You know what I'm saying? And I got my Spotty backpack. Feeling like Peter Parker right now.
Bro, you got a whole Walmart in your foot.
Yeah, bro, I'm ready. He just told me that at the school somebody made a bomb threat.
Yeah, bro.
Right?
Like, yeah, dude. Like,
Bro,
that's crazy.
Here, bro.
What the f? So trying to get me out of here, bro? What the hell? Yo, bro. What's your name again?
Ninja.
Damn, you look so familiar, bro.
Why you messing with this dude?
Say it again.
Tom, nice to meet you.
Oh, you was talking to my girl.
Tom nervous as hell. Tom nervous as hell.
With my girl, bro.
Bro.
Bro, you was fucking with my girl.
Tom nervous as hell.
Which channel is that? Instagram?
OnlyFans.
We're OnlyFans.
OnlyFans. You trying to get into it?
No.
You not trying to get into OnlyFans?
No.
Nah? Why you skipping school right now?
Fun.
Why you skipping class right now?
I'm done with classes for today.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Hey, first off, Tom, you don't have to answer that man questions. You don't owe that man nothing. You ain't gotta answer that man questions. You a grown man. You gotta answer his questions, Tom.
I'm sorry for coming over here.
Guy just full press money for no reason.
You feel what I'm saying? But like I seen you kind of staring at me while I was coming down the steps. You feel what I'm saying? Which is gonna be. What's your name?
He said, "I see you from
Yeah,
across the
I just
room."
You know, like I'm not trying to be mean or nothing, but I'm not interested. So like.
I didn't really look at you.
You said what?
Okay, that's fine.
No, I seen you, but it's like you feel what I'm saying. You kind of like glanced at me. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm just here to say like
Dog.
I'm not really interested. I'm trying to like.
I know your video.
What?
Is that not
No.
Twitch partner, all that?
Oh no, that's a router. And I fell off on Twitch. You feel me? I'm just wearing my my grandpa's shirt. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But yeah, I'm just not interested. You know.
That's okay.
You know. Fuck it. Let's go.
It's been wild. Hey, why buddy in front of him keep looking back at him like that? Hey, Brody dead. Hey.
What's going on? You want some breakfast? You want some breakfast? I got bacon and eggs.
Dog.
Real ass bitch, give a fuck about a nigga. Big Birkin bag, hoe 5-6 figures.
Dog. Hey, Kai's not one of the funniest people on the internet, hands down. I put money on if you find somebody funnier than him, bro.
Stripes on my ass cause he taught his pussy tigger. Fucking on them salmon ass, lame ass nigga. Same group of bitches that didn't add it to the picture. Bigger.
Bro.
Looking at your nick, I don't got time for you lame ass hoes.
Dog.
Fake ass clothes. With the fake ass. Act up, you gonna get snatched up. Act up, you gonna get snatched up. Yes. He's talking about me and I'm fucking your dick.
Dog, bro, my stomach is in knots. My stomach is in knots watching this man.
Stripes on his ass cause he put his pussy tigger. Stripes on his ass cause he taught his pussy tigger. Anybody want breakfast? Does anyone want breakfast? Yeah, I got eggs and bacon. You want some?
Dog.
All right, come on, pull out. Let me know if you want some. I got some
Dog.
eggs. I got some bacon, so if you really want that motherfucker,
Dog.
you feel what I'm saying? I got you, man. I got eggs, I got bacon, I
Dog.
got condoms, I got mad shit. You feel what I'm saying? If you need it, let me know, bro.
Dog.
Hold on, I'm trying to whip this motherfucker up. This shit kind of a little slow, real quick. You
Buddy,
know what I'm saying? I'm
crazy,
treating these
bro.
eggs like I'm
Buddy
treating
going
my
crazy.
ops, bro. Scrambling these niggas, huh? Oh shit! Anybody got salt or pepper? Fuck. How you doing, Professor?
I'm all right, man. What do we got there?
Eggs.
Nice. What would you like me to do with that?
Did you eat breakfast today? I'm just making sure that you got a full day ahead of you. I was just making sure that you're good. You need protein.
You're right. I have a
Please
big protein.
take. I cooked it just for you, bro.
How do you expect me to eat that, man?
Come on, just take one piece. I cooked it just
Hey, Professor ready to throw hands. How do you expect me to eat that, man?
for you, bro. Please.
Ready to throw hands.
Hot? It's
It might be kind of hot, but
It's still a little warm.
yeah, I might be kind of hot. But look, hey, look, come on, Professor, come on, do it for Black History Month. Right?
Not Black History
Yeah.
Month.
What's in here?
Eggs. Yes, sir! Yes, sir! Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate you. Hey, you're now a nigga. All right, y'all, if y'all want eggs, bacon, I'll be outside. I got sour, I got condoms, I got magnums, I got
Dog.
cold, I got.
What?
I apologize, you know. I apologize. I'm just sorry.
What?
I'm not interested. You know, I seen you staring at me for a little bit. I just gotta tell you, like, I'm not interested. But you know, if you do want to get inside, you want some eggs or something?
I'm good. I'm about to be on the phone with my mom.
Ask your mom if she wants some eggs.
I think she's good. Hi. Emily.
Hi, ma. Hola. ¿De dónde está mi negra amigo? ¿Cómo está? It's good, bro. What's up? Well, I'm just having a bad day, bro.
It's cool if I get a picture.
That might
yeah,
be
let's do it.
University of
You on
Georgia.
my dick.
Bro, what? Look at this man's eyes.
Is that okay with you?
Nah, Paul. I'm joking, gang.
Dog.
Wait, you gotta get the sunlight. Like, let me get
Okay.
some lighting too.
I'm
Now, let
not
me get some
trying to
lighting.
get
No, do it again. Yeah, let me get some lighting, bro. Come on, you know I'm black. What that mean? Why you laughing? Do we have a problem?
Y'all know this is University of Georgia?
Oh, all right. You said dumbass motherfucker? What do you mean by that? It's only March 2nd. Black History Month just finished. What you mean by dumbass motherfucker? Yeah, get off my block. You wildin', gang. What you talking about? Lame ass nigga. Oh, ass nigga. You talking about some dumbass motherfucker. Nigga, fuck you. He meant to say dumbass. You know what I'm saying? Hey, excuse me, guys. Excuse me. Hey, excuse me. Oh, you're ignoring me because I'm black? Now that's crazy, gangy. Black History Month was 2 months, just 2 days ago. So you gonna
Yeah, they show is like, bro, when you ignore people on college campus, dog, you get over yourself, bro.
act like we in New York right now? Where you going? Nah, that's
Knowing damn well wasn't nothing that important,
kind of
bro.
crazy to me, bro. Come on, bro.
You
I'm
can say
talking about
what's up and
something
keep walking,
important.
bro.
You gonna just walk away?
That's one of my biggest pet peeves, no cap. I ain't even finna hold y'all. When somebody walk past me without just acknowledging me whatsoever, bro.
Like that. Damn, those are the cool dudes. Those are the cool frats in the, in the movies. Can I get a ride?
The lame ass frats in the movies, bro.
Why not?
Doing too
Come
much.
on, let me
for
get a
no
ride, bro,
reason.
please.
Having fake fun.
Come on, bro, please. Let me get a
Nah,
ride,
bro, I'm on the
bro. Come
clock.
on. Black History Month was 2 days ago.
Bro, I'm on the clock.
Can I
Fuck
please
off.
just
Fuck off.
What?
Fuck off.
That's racist. Come on, please, bro.
I'm on the clock. I'm on work.
But you do. It's a red
I'm
light.
on the phone with my boss. So do you want me to call the police?
Yo, you a snitch, bro. I'm not. Bro, come on. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah,
Did you
University of
just see
Georgia.
that shit?
Yeah, bro. University of Georgia. They,
Yes.
I got opinions of why they acting like that. I ain't finna say it though.
She was so mean to me. I'm over here just trying to spread awareness about my eggs and shit, you know? She said, fuck off.
Nice looking.
Yeah. You really pretty. Think I get your number?
The fuck?
Oh, can I get your Instagram? I'm sorry, you pretty too. My cameraman's right here.
Oh, she felt attacked. Oh,
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Can I get your Instagram?
Oh.
What's your name? Here.
Hey.
It's okay. Wait. K-A-R-A. K-A-R-A. Hey guys. Excuse me, ladies and
Not the
gentlemen.
cafeteria,
Sorry
bro.
for the interruption. You feel what I'm saying? My mom just left me. My kids just left me because I got high. You feel what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna lie to you. I know y'all tired of eating this shit, so I got some eggs. So if anybody would like to, you feel what I'm saying? I'm a chef myself. If anybody would like to get some eggs, let me know.
Hey, University of Georgia don't got too many black people, bro.
Anybody on this side?
I see you, Queen.
Pull up. Anybody on this
Other than
side?
her, I don't see no other
Pull up
black
to my
people at
table.
University of
Pull up to
Georgia,
my
dog.
table.
I got a test in.
Oh, it was some in that class.
20 minutes? Okay, look, man. You know what I'm saying? I only got, a few eggs for you. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah, here. You want some?
Yeah,
Here. Take some of the eggs, bro.
that's a nice season.
Them eggs been cooked 2 hours ago during first period, dog.
Yeah. You want some eggs? Hey, of course, bro.
Fine dining.
Here you go. I got you.
Yeah, we just gotta call somebody.
No, that's my dad, though.
Yeah, can you?
That's my dad. All
You
right,
gotta
we leaving.
call
Bye.
somebody.
That's my dad.
What's your Twitch?
Huh?
What's your Twitch? You got Twitch?
My Twitch? Your Age Gaming? I'm new to the school.
Not your age, Gaby.
Stop. Bro, I don't know. It's like my third day out here, bro.
What's crazy though, bro? Come on.
Get my old bitch.
Come on, University of Georgia, bro. It's not that serious. Y'all calling campus security on this man over a joke about some eggs, bro? Come on. Man.
Average. This is my first time rapping it. I might go retarded shit. Bentley Coupe, I'm dashing it. Sending my money, I'm tall as shit. Told him, don't you doubt the kid. Told him, don't you doubt the kid. You like
What's
that right
that
there?
Rolly
What's
Avalanche?
your name, shorty? My name's Mia. I like your outfit. You give me a little bright, little orange, little tangerine. You feel what I'm saying?
He done made me a day.
Oh yeah, I'm a rapper. You vote with a kid?
Yeah, my brother. I texted my brothers.
Yeah.
They're freaking the fuck out.
Okay, wait. Oh yes sir. Yes sir, Chef Boy RD, man. We outside.
That's fire. That's fire. That's fire. I bet. Which one is next? Let's see. The death of G4. Let's tune into that. If y'all remember G4, huge gaming network. Some kind of way these dudes went under. But I mean, it makes sense though. It makes sense. Like, it's G4 was popping when I was in like middle school, probably, and like a little bit of high school. But like that long ago, I don't know how G4 changed. Like, I don't know if it's some business knowledge for y'all who not into business like that. Like, you have to innovate. If you don't innovate, your company's gonna collapse. It's why Blockbuster fails, why GameStop fail. It's why G4 fails. Like,
that every single channel,
but let's check it out.
on YouTube and every single network on television will at one point fade away and die and be replaced by something more contemporary, whether it's 10 years from now or 100 or even 1,000 years in the future. But in the gaming scene, it feels like that timeline is a lot shorter. Things don't last nearly as long, and if you've been around for even a few years, you've probably seen several companies come and go. This one too will at one point fade away. So until then, subscribe, because the number going up makes me feel a lot better. So, but it's pretty rare that a channel dies twice. In fact, dying twice has only really happened to Jesus, Gandalf, and G4. So let's
Jesus, Gandalf, and G4.
take a look at the death of G4, which, if you haven't heard, just announced yesterday. If you don't know, G4 is a gaming network that started in 2002 that would air at basically every GameStop that was trying to make gaming cool.
Hold me, Morgan.
Nice try, but the show isn't going to blow up.
And it was very
I feel like G4 made gaming more mainstream, but like didn't make gaming, what's the word, like maybe inclusive. Like, it still felt like G4 made gaming, like, made more people know about it, but at the same time they didn't make it where like everyone can just feel comfortable as a gamer. Like, it's the same reason people say, oh, you're an adult, like you should be gaming. Like, it made it known that there was adult gamers, but I don't know if it made it like acceptable, if that makes sense. But not just for adult gaming. You know, what I'm trying
informative
say.
to a lot of gamers in the early years. They eventually faded out in like 2014 and then announced a comeback that was meant to happen in 2021. Here's the announcement.
Yeah, that's the thing. I didn't even know they went out in 2014 and then tried to come back in 2021. I didn't know that part.
November 16th, 2021. There, we said it. It's happening. We're committed for realsies.
And saying for realsies aside,
I was just about to say that.
they did come back. And less than a year later, if you're keeping up with dates, they are now gone. It was a leaked memo from the CEO of Comcast.
You know, G4 was introduced last year. Online TV destination for fans who inspired basketball support.
Dave Scott, who basically said, hey, G4 was reintroduced. We tried, didn't.
Also, that's right. They had a TV channel. Like, I don't, like, y'all are watching this on YouTube. If you're watching a video, you're still watching it on YouTube. Like, why would G4 go to TV network? Like, again, like, innovation. Like, we all know cable is out, streaming is in, and YouTube is a new version of streaming. Like, invest in either, if you're going to do a show, invest in either a streaming platform or on YouTube. Like, put all that money in the two of those or one of those. A TV network, I could have told y'all that ain't it, bro.
Work out. See you later.
Past summer months worked hard to generate interest in G4, but viewership is low and the network has not achieved sustainable financial results. Duh.
And they cut.
I say this like I don't want to be mean because a lot of people did lose their jobs. I will point that out, but like it does not seem like a sustainable business model. Didn't seem like a sustainable business model even then. Like if you're not going to innovate, you're not going to do anything different. What's the point? Like
everything effective immediately. And I did say leaked memo because that is also how basically everybody who worked at G4 found out that they got fired. This is Gerard the Completionist saying, hey, this tweet is how I found out I lost my job. How neat. Nothing like finding out via an article that you don't have a job anymore while flying home to your grandfather's funeral.
That's wild.
Found out from a news article on mental health leave. Okay, I was in active negotiations for a contract with G4. Lol. Hey, just found out my company shut down. Anyone need a producer?
Dude was in active negotiations for his contract to then find out that it was shut down. That shows you the information wasn't even being passed down. It was literally the CEO.
Producer, I'm in Hawaii. You get the point.
Like, how many times do we got to see a CEO make a decision like this and, like, just say, fuck the employees? Like, over and over and over again. Like, come on now. Like,
all right. A lot of
that's
people
messed up, bro.
Found out that they were getting let go from this leaked memo. But why did they shut down? What was so wrong with the business model, and why did it not even last a year? Because I think, honestly, they had a few great things going for them. And just to be clear, they announced on their own Twitter that they are
I know I'm talking big stuff. I don't know everything about G4, but let's hear it.
For sure done. But let's take a look for a moment at the history of G4. Because about a month ago, they let go 20 to 30 staff members, right? Because they had a lot of people. I went to their studio to record Name Your Price.
When you let go 20 to 30 staff members, and then a month later, the whole company is shut down.
And their overhead's huge. They have a beautiful warehouse. Had a beautiful warehouse. They had dozens and dozens and dozens of employees and a lot of original IP. But I think that's the problem, all right? The way the gaming sphere works is it's kind of dominated by a bunch of individual influencers, gaming creators. It's pretty hard for any network to tap into the space because it always comes off a bit cringe. Think
CNET.
Like Ninja's New Year's celebration. Even that, which was an influencer forward project, was done by a giant network and came off super out of touch. And I think that happens a lot in gaming because it is so influencer forward and because influencers are so much more adaptive and there are so many and it's so competitive. Any network's not going to just be able to keep up with what the people want without.
When you think about it, like, was G4 brought back for nostalgia purposes? Because other than that, like, what was the point? Like, as a kid, I didn't rock with G4. I was like, oh, it's cool. Like, I feel like I had like some from G4 that had like a bunch of cheat codes in it, but outside of that, like as a kid, I didn't even rock with G4. So why, as an adult, would I be all over G4? Like what's there for me? Like gaming news. As soon as that's released, it's a video about it on YouTube. Like maybe they do that and it becomes like that's the business model again. YouTube. Like I'm not gonna tune in to G4 on DirecTV, bro.
Coming across as outdated or just straight up cringe. And not to say that everything G4 made is cringe or outdated, but more so to say that the viewership they had did not really reflect the amount of money that they were spending for that viewership. I mean, look, we're talking an average of 1,600 viewers with an overhead that is higher than any individual streamer. Now, averaging 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 viewers, it's great on its own. In a vacuum, that's an amazing number.
Oh, so they came back on Twitch? Hey, perfect segue to our next video.
But when you're
we'll get to that in a second.
millions and millions of dollars a year on employees, on a warehouse, on all the studio production equipment, it doesn't add.
They built out a studio.
No, the math does not add up. And I think the original game plan of G4, which is basically to bring back their original shows like X-Play and Attack of the Show, was a bad idea, right? What are the things that G4 did that were great, that worked out really well? I would argue it was like Name Your Price. If you don't know, that was a show made by Austin Show that was produced by G4.
So they game shows around gaming?
Network. And it got...
That seems like that could have been an amazing YouTube channel. Like they could have took some Mr. Beast concepts and ran with that. That sounds like that could have been phenomenal. You got the funding. Why put it all on Twitch? And it has to be live.
400,000 views on YouTube, and it had like, I think 40, 50,000 live viewers. And it was a very successful show. And G4 produced it, but then they had this weird thing where they were also re-uploading it on their own channel, and that one would get like 30,000 views.
But that looks like a TV production. Again, like it doesn't look... I don't want to watch this. This looks like this could have been in 2001, bro. Like with better graphics. Like this looks like The Price is Right, bro. Like it ain't honestly that difficult. Like do something new. If you go create a new show, do it completely new. Do it original, bro. Like find out what's working today, not what worked in 2004.
If G4 had bar for bar just done what we were trying to do at Off-Brand, I think it could have been successful. Because they definitely have the ability to make cool shows as long as they're influencer forward, and then the influencer who they're working with can make sure that that reaches a big audience. And what G4 has that many people don't have is a great sales arm. They have a better sales arm than any streamer in the world is even close to. Because we're not just talking about like selling Snickers for Name Your Price, and now Snickers will get 400,000 views. Wow, cool. We're talking about the ability to sell that to network television. We're talking about the ability that influencers could actually touch traditional media. Like Scott the Woz actually had a show on TV through G4 Network, which I think was a cool opportunity for him that he was really excited about. Unfortunately, though, the overhead was too big to keep a lot of their original IP going, which wasn't really hitting the mark in terms of viewership. And although that might be the lifeblood and there was a lot of great talent in there, it just wasn't working. They needed to cut it earlier, and they needed to focus on making shows. And it was announced that even Carl Jacobs was working on a show with G4. So I feel like if they had a longer lifespan, they would have made it. But that is also the problem with being funded by Comcast. You only have as much time as they give you. And if you don't show results in the time that they want, and the investor pulls out, you're out of money. There's nothing you can do. You can't exactly go public and start asking people for money unless you're FaZe and you're making a SPAC. Anyway, what does that mean for the future of other G4 shows? Well, Will talked about it on his stream. He made Hey Donna through G4.
Here's what I'll say. I don't know enough to tell you that you'll never see Donna or Name Your Price again. You might not. Either way, I'm really proud of both those projects. I'm really proud of Attack of the Show and everything we accomplished there. Yeah, you know.
And that's about it. It's a big I don't know because he doesn't know where the funding will come from anymore. G4 was hemorrhaging money to produce these shows with the hopes that they would somehow capture an audience and never succeeded in doing that. It doesn't really transfer
rough, man.
if Austin makes a show called Name Your Price that those viewers will suddenly want to watch Attack of the Show. The Attack of the Show and I think the original IP aspect of G4 kind of tanked it. Even though I think, again, there was a lot of talented people who were working on those projects, it just doesn't make sense in the current age. Usually people who watch streams go on
What have I been saying?
online just to watch the streamer they like. And anytime it feels too corporate, people hate it. That's why there needs to be an element of scuff involved. So I'm just going to end with this. If anyone did work at G4 and is looking for an opportunity, hit me up. Because Off-Brand is a very similar company to what G4, I think, was turning into before Comcast cut them short. And we're looking to hire talented people. So I figured I'd throw it out there. You can shoot me a DM or email us if you go over to our website.
Shout out to Ludwig, man. Yeah, this fire, when all those people lost their job, like right now, like Ludwig's looking to hire. When all those people got scammed, he put his own money out there. So shout out to Ludwig. All right, I said that goes perfectly into our next video. Let's get this.
Uber's not going to exist. Honestly, at this point,
The ugly truth about Twitch. Let's see what this is about. And shout out to Big E. If y'all are interested in streaming, you moved from YouTube or you moved from Twitch or you're considering moving to Twitch, like, it's a good dude. It's a good dude. He know what he be talking about. But he also got the clickbait going. Ain't nothing wrong with a little bit of clickbait. But he's like, he helped me acclimate myself to the YouTube ecosystem when I decided to stream over here.
Wouldn't be surprised if Twitch wasn't even around in the next 1 to 3 years.
I literally had this conversation with my wife yesterday. I was like, it wouldn't surprise me if Twitch is not around in the next 5 years. The reason I think they might be is Amazon has to make a decision of whether to let Twitch go or to fully invest in Twitch. Like, Amazon, they make too much money to go halfway on it. And it looks like they've been going halfway on it for the past 5 years. So let's see.
But we're a community.
And that's all that matters.
Okay, considering how crazy this last month was for Twitch, I didn't think they had the ability to screw it up any more than what they already have. Hold my beer. Do? And yet again, I've been proven wrong.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber.
Hey, thanks. So I'm sure you guys were around for the dumpster fire that happened last month. Twitch announcing that they're going to move away from giving creators a 70-30 split, and everybody's just going to get a 50-50.
Biggie, that doesn't affect me because I'm not a top 1% of the streamers, so I don't care.
Of course you don't care. Anyway.
That's wild when people say that. I'm like, bro, you just finna sit there and let Amazon take 50% of your bag? For what? For what? Like, it don't make sense to me. Like, it's not about discoverability. Like, what are you getting? Like, you could not become a Twitch partner and like find a way to convince your audience to donate directly via donation button. If you want to support my stream, there's a donation button down in the description below. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to. Like, you don't have to get them 50% of your money. For what? What does Twitch do? You get TwitchCon?
Anyways, TwitchCon
emotes
just ended, which is this big event that Twitch tries to host once a year that brings a lot of creators in.
People mindset around just fully sabotaging themselves in their own bag is wild to me sometimes. I ain't finna get into that rant though.
From all around the world, and brings them together with brands and events.
Here at Twitch, we believe opportunity is everything. Like the opportunity to make money from TwitchCon 2022. Now, while we do encourage streamers to spend hundreds to thousands of dollars to travel from all around the world to attend our event, we'd like to remind you all not to do your fucking job while you're in our presence.
That shit was wild. How is a streaming conference and you tell people they can't stream? Dog.
Or we'll ban you. But remember, your safety is of our utmost concern for our ticket sales. We'd like to make everybody feel comfortable and safe by forcing a mask mandate.
I know y'all seen the videos of TwitchCon. How many people y'all see with mask
on the premises only. We do encourage you to take it off at the after parties and get drunk as fuck. From there, we'd like to encourage you all to have some fun and stop by our foam pits here at TwitchCon, because nothing quite says I need a beer like having a broken back at TwitchCon. So what great community feelings that we've created here, having another amazing year of TwitchCon. Again, friendly reminder not to be streaming any of this, or again, I will ban you. But nonetheless, we hope that everybody has a safe travel home and is encouraged to get back to working so that way I can take 50%.
And of course, in Twitch fashion, this event was an absolute shit show. Streamers, creators, people that make YouTube videos from all around the world travel to this thing.
I ain't even finna hold you though. When I saw videos TwitchCon look like, they was having a good time. I ain't even finna hold you. Like, I consider going to TwitchCon until the last few days when old girl did break her back. I did realize nobody was wearing masks. Twitch wasn't doing none of the stuff they said they was doing. And you can stream.
Where they...
And also, I don't like to party like that. So, what was the point? If I went, it'd be for networking.
Stream daily. They create content all the time. That is literally their brand. That is what Twitch is. They walk in and are...
Yeah, that's crazy though. Because Twitch, he's spot on. Like, your whole... You can't make money on Twitch. Again, which is why you should move to YouTube if you're considering. You can't make money on Twitch without being live on Twitch. Like, tell me how that makes sense. And then you tell people to come to the event that's for streamers, for Twitch streamers, but then they can't make money. You got it. Maybe it's the networking that, yeah, I guess there's an argument there.
Greeted with this beautiful sign that says no streaming. So creators were restricted of even creating their content on the premises. I don't think this stopped a lot of people, but just the sheer fact that Twitch tried to pull this was hilarious. Obviously, since that didn't work, a few clips went viral of some streamers getting pretty screwed up from a foam pit that was in one of the booths at the event. In fact, one of the streamers broke her back.
I hurt my leg, bro, one time, like, messed up my hamstring. And when you want to move your body, but your body just absolutely does not do it, it's one of the most terrifying feelings in the world. So I can imagine what she was thinking, what she was going through.
And 2 places. Her life drastically...
Sue the brakes off them, please. Please, like, not even on no, like, I'm not rocking with Twitch stuff. Like, that's crazy. Like, it's a foam pit. Everybody, you see a foam pit, what you gonna do? You gonna jump in it? And she do exactly that. And she, come on down, bro.
Changed forever from a foam pit at TwitchCon. And of course, in the Twitch way, it wasn't Twitch's fault by any means. It was 100% the booth that was hosting this foam pit inside the event that Twitch was hosting, even though for 3 days in a row, multiple people got hurt.
She might got a several tiered lawsuit. Like, I might need to hit up my lawyer friend Johnny, because she might have a 3-tiered lawsuit. She can sue Twitch, Lenovo, and the event venue or the event venue. You know what I'm trying to say.
Could have maybe shut it down. Why would they do that? It's not their fault. That is not on me, okay? But taking this event into consideration, the shit that happened, and seeing how Twitch reacted to this stuff, which essentially was not showing any remorse or care for the creators' needs out there, there's obviously been a trend over these last few years that should be brought up, that more creators should be having a conversation around with Twitch, so that way you guys have a reality grasp of what Twitch is and where it could potentially be heading. 70-30 splits. Twitch and Amazon's recent announcement of 70-30 splits, which by the way, I'm gonna say Twitch and Amazon a lot in today's video, because at the end of the day, Amazon and the higher ups, the CEO portion of Twitch, really ultimately are the ones that make these decisions. I'm very sympathetic actually towards the Twitch staff, because I've had the opportunity to talk with a couple members of the Twitch staff, and they're not in agreement of a lot of the shit that Twitch and Amazon have been pulling. In fact, some of them had no idea till the day of. Like,
of course, when you work at a major corporation, you come in, like, you are responsible for working out / living out what the company dictates. Like, you come in, it's already been rules, unless you're at a startup. Like, it's already been rules, it's already been precedents, it's already been procedures that are in place about how you should work and how you should, like, conduct yourself at that job. Twitch employees, like, they came in, the culture was set. Like, I promise you, every single Twitch, not every, but most Twitch employees, like, probably have the streamer's best interest at heart. Like, are probably fully committed to the streamers and streamer success. But the 70-30 split, I guarantee you that's not Jim on the 3rd floor who works in partnerships who wants to go with a 70-30 split, who wants to go to 50-50 split. I guarantee you he's a partner account manager, and they just made his job harder because now he has to go to the major streamers, XQC, Kai Cenat, Cypher PK, like, and tell them, hey, unfortunately, next year you're not going to be on the 70-30. And they built their entire revenue streams, their businesses around that. That's crazy.
Like the 70-30 announcement, Twitch staff, Twitch employees, people that work for this company to try to make the community a better place, had no idea that these updates were coming. But the reason why they announced these changes for 70-30 split should be a big alarm for a lot of creators out there. Amazon has essentially publicly came out with this transition and admitted that they're not profitable for the future if they keep doing this. In their blog post, they even pointed
that makes the most sense that I've ever heard, because what I said at the beginning of this, like, they right now it seems like Twitch has been the middle child of, not even middle child, Twitch has been like the child that Amazon has not cared about. Like, if they wanted to succeed, they have to become profitable, because I mean, or Twitch, they sell Twitch breaks off of Amazon, becomes its own corporation, they can kind of get a new round of funding. That sounds like a great idea. But otherwise, like, Twitch, they got to sit here and they don't make money off of it. Like, and Amazon is not just finna sit there and let a single portion of Amazon just continue to lose money. Like, 50-50 from Amazon's perspective makes sense, but from a creator's perspective, how does it make sense? I guess you give Amazon an addition for the big creators. Like, I guess you give Amazon an additional 20% to keep Twitch alive, basically, so that you still have a form of income there. Like, I don't know.
Pointed out that in order to run the infrastructure of handling these streams, the data that comes and goes, and the overhead from employment to engineers is more than what they can bring in for the long term. Which
also, I know Twitch made public that everybody's going to 50-50. Their biggest creators, I guarantee you some of them are probably not going to a 50-50 split. And the reason I say that is, like, large corporations, when they want to contract something differently, what's holding them from doing it? Nothing. So,
which is really bad to come out and publicly admit when you have behemoths like YouTube and Facebook just growing every single day, making advances, making updates to their sites, and bringing in more creators. Now,
my man's just say Facebook, but I still don't know one Facebook streamer. Shout out to all the Facebook streamers who out there grinding every single day. I don't know y'all yet.
People really,
but I bet some of y'all are putting out great content.
Invested in the Twitch community, they don't really grasp that yet. They don't understand how far ahead YouTube and Facebook is in terms of ads that they can bring in, the revenue that they make, and the teams that they have. Just for example, last year, Twitch brought in $2.6 billion of revenue, which is before their expenses. So that's the money they brought in before they had to actually pay for everything else. The engineers, the servers, the data, everything that goes into handling Twitch. And YouTube brought in $28.5 billion last year in ad revenue, I believe, alone. While a lot of people want to have the feeling that Twitch is this large, untouchable platform, and I think a lot of you guys lived through the era of Blockbuster and MySpace, seeing some of the largest trends, the largest companies just essentially shut down overnight. While your feelings and heart might want to say, hey, I love this thing, don't talk bad about it, it's big, it's not necessarily the case.
I think he's on to something, like, very important. Like, a lot of people think certain businesses will just be viable in the long run. But what were we saying in the last video about G4? Like, you have to adapt. Like, I'm gonna put y'all into some game. This is a book I read. It's called Only the Paranoid Survive. And this lady, she manages this, like, massive investment fund. I asked her for a book recommendation or a piece of advice, and that was a book recommendation she gave me. I read that, and I can't think of about business any differently, because, like, I think it's the truest words. Like, a company is not going to succeed in the long run. Anything, like, company, Like, we're going to talk about nation states. Like, it's why the U.S. invests all the money they do in their militaries, because they're paranoid. Because if they don't, like, something else will come up. Like, it's every corporation, you know, like, that's why they're paying all this money on lobbyists. Like, I'm not saying it's right, but if a company wants to succeed in the long run, you have to adapt. You have to innovate. Like, there's no way around it.
Case. So the fact that they're publicly coming out and sharing this information is a red flag, in my opinion, first and foremost. But even aside from that, what are the other ways that Twitch, aside from doing the 70-30 split, is trying to bring in more revenue to the platform? In the last year or two, you may have noticed that ads have become more annoying and talked about across the platform as a whole. It's become a serious issue, and the reason why is because Amazon really needs to compete with Google and Facebook for ads. So their genius idea was let's just force more ads on people. The community will love that. So that way, like, we get more watch time.
There were so many other ways they could have did it. I mean, you can do banner ads, you can do ads on the side of the screen. Like, there's so many other ways they could have did it. Then I logged onto Twitch one night and it said one of 8, and it was a 30-second ad. And then I proceeded to watch the same ad 4 straight times for the first, bro, like, come on now, Twitch.
For that, and we can bring in more ad revenue in the future, which all of you have probably seen doesn't create an enjoyable experience. And before all the heroic Twitch people come along and say, Twitch is owned by Amazon, you're an idiot to think that they gotta compete with ads. Just because the platform that owns it is big in one market doesn't necessarily mean that advertisers are going to invest into that platform.
And also, just because the company is owned by Amazon, it doesn't mean that Amazon cares about it in the long term. We see companies acquire other companies all the time and then shut them down when it's no longer profitable, or the company that they acquired did not grow to be the massive success that they assumed it was 5-10 years ago when they acquired it. It's simple.
For example, you're a big brand and you have $10 million you want to invest into a platform, into a social media platform, to get your eyes distributed amongst a whole bunch of people on that platform. Are you going to invest your $10 million into the Purple platform because last year your son watched Ninja and he had some really good fluffy feelings? Or are you going to invest into the platform that's owned by Google, is the second most visited website in the entire internet world, and has a long history of proving that it can distribute those ads and even convert people into buyers? Oh, and on top of that, this Red app comes pre-installed in like every cell phone that comes out. What are you investing into to grow your brand? That's a problem that we have with ads right now on Twitch. Amazon needs more advertisers to come and invest into the platform to make it more profitable. But advertisers are investing into other platforms because they have more proof that it's profitable for them. So Amazon and Twitch is kind of forcing this idea of let's get more watch time on ads so we can prove that people will sit through ads and potentially be converted.
They can do that, but then at the same time, don't simultaneously mess up their creators. Maybe their hands were tied, they didn't have a choice. Like, that could very well be the situation, but damn.
Now, the big problem with this is Twitch still has no discovery, meaning you just come along and you start streaming and you can utilize certain things like SEO, search engine optimization, to push yourself into other viewers. It's kind of like a luck of the draw. You kind of get pushed up as more people come to your stream. And so that's why Twitch has affiliate marketing through the Twitch affiliate program. They essentially say, hey, here's a way to monetize yourself. Go create content on other platforms and bring people here. So right now, through this easy path of affiliate, Twitch essentially is saying you can stream here now and only here, so you can get monetized, but you have to bring people to this website. Oh, and by the way, we have to start forcing ads on all your stuff so that way we can actually profit, because it's your guys' fault that we're not profiting. Once again, Amazon and Twitch not figuring out a way to be more profitable, screwing up and making it about the creators having to make changes to their stuff. Speaking of changes, I wanted to shout out today's sponsor of the video, me. I just recently launched my 2022 LUT pack. I'm using one right now on this video. So if you think this video or any of my previous content looks good, head over to biggie.co, snag the 2022 LUT pack for your content today. So as if things could get worse, now Twitch is pushing this new affiliate ad marketing, or at least that's what I call it. This new incentive ad program has this affiliate vibe. Like, hey, if you put ads on your stuff, we'll give you something in return.
That's one way. Like, I hope that this is something that addresses that gap for those top creators who are now going to lose 20% of their revenue every year from streaming. I hope this addresses that. But on the other side, like, I actually think this is something Twitch might have done right from a creator perspective, and that you're allowing them more opportunity to make money. The reverse of that is the hours that they are requiring these people to stream and then to run that number of ads is wild.
Well, no shit. That's how any platform should work. But the way Twitch is doing it is just shitty in comparison to other sites. Kind of waving this fresh, plump fruit in front of some hungry, dying person's face. Come on, keep walking and I'll give you a little piece. But the sad thing is Twitch is a really confined community. A lot of people don't educate themselves on the possibilities from other platforms. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, Twitch has this new incentive ad program. If you get X amount of congruent viewers, they give you some number if you run X amount of ads.
Like, look at that. For 463, that's not the type of money I'm talking about, by the way. I saw somebody's on Twitter 20 G's or some shit. $463 for 190 hours of streaming? Dog. Twitch, bro, it's time to put them hands up. It's time to put them hands up. Like, we ain't even finna do this. We ain't even got shit else to talk about. Put them hands up right now.
During certain durations of your stream. So if you run X amount of ads and stream Y amount of hours in a month, you'll make a certain amount of ad revenue. Obviously, what they don't tell you is the percentage of that ad revenue. Again, though, they kind of have to do this because they publicly came out and said, we're just not making enough money, so we need to make more money. Not even to mention all this, we can get into so many scandals or issues that happen on Twitch. Like the sexual harassment accusations that came from the internal side of Twitch that just got swept under the rug.
Crazy.
The reality that this road or path to partner is a complete lie. There's been countless, thousands of streamers, including myself, that hit that multiple times and never got approved for a partner, which is kind of just a joke of an achievement now. Nothing real rewarding from it. Or even the countless clearly biased bans that have come from the platform.
Yeah, my wife and I were talking about this as well earlier today. Like, the fact that, like, people literally grind to watch shit on Twitch, but then mess around and, like, Twitch is like, bet, here you go, you can make some money, but everything, you know, you're putting in the hours to work and to drive this revenue, but we gonna take 50% of it. Like, shit, at least YouTube would be like, hey dog, here goes a little split, like here goes a little plaque to hang up on the wall.
Platform where one person gets banned for life over something that is a fraction of what somebody got banned for a week. No clear communication from Twitch to the community as to why that happens. And then there's still the big red flag of DMCA, which that issue has not been completely resolved. Twitch has just kind of put a safety cap on their end to cover their asses more for when DMCA actions happen on their site. A lot of Twitch streamers are under this weird illusion that they can just listen to whatever music they want now because there's a 3-strike policy. So as long as they don't get these strikes, it's just okay to listen to what they want. And this is a huge recipe for disaster. And Twitch has a history of showing that they don't care that other people will be punished for these actions. That's one of the reasons why I had shifted my focus from being a full-time Twitch streamer, was because they just randomly came out of nowhere after letting us stream copyrighted music for years. And sure, we knew better, but once again, allowing us to do it on their site, free range, and then just one day to save their ass, hey, you guys gotta delete your VODs because you screwed up. We let you screw up, but it was your screw up. All that is a reality of what Twitch is. Twitch was a platform that was created to be this awesome community.
It feels like Twitch never left their startup phase. Like you see certain companies, like some companies intentionally try to stay back in their startup phase, but it felt like Twitch was a startup for so long, got acquired by Amazon, but never never got like moved up to king. Like they stayed Prince, but the entire lifespan, like they never grew from startup, like
community. And then throughout the years,
which is beneficial for some companies, but when you're like, you have like, you're not supposed to go down right now.
did get bought out, and it had to become profitable to compete with other companies. That's how things have to grow. Unfortunately, the way they do it and the clear history that they've shown in relation from the higher up, the Amazon, the CEO side of Twitch, to the community, there's a huge disconnect. I say all of this today because the reality is, as creators, you guys need to be thinking about this so that way you can expand, so that way you can grow your brands. I had so many friends that were affected by the whole Mixer shutdown. It breaks my heart to see where they are today, doing so well, thinking that everything was just going great, and then a snap of a finger, literally almost overnight, one of the biggest...
Mixer, to be honest, was my favorite streaming platform. Like, I wasn't streaming on there. I guess I did a little bit, but that was before I took streaming serious. But the creators on there were they were so positive.
Growing platforms just plummets, and I just see so many of us in the community come together, talk about all these memes and all this funny shit. We joke and kid all the time, but then I continue to see so many good creators completely invest their time into Twitch, not realizing that in all honesty, any day that platform could get shut down. It is not untouchable. And if anything, over what we've seen in the last year or two, I feel like they're on their way out. I feel like they are on their way to change something up, to make a huge branding change to Twitch, or just trying to get that last cash flow so they just officially shut down the doors. All I encourage creators and viewers to understand, at the end of the day, while we've had these amazing connections through these sites throughout these years, we've made a lot of memories, a lot of friends, there was a lot of great times. These are still businesses that need to make a profit, and at the end of the day, that's their main focus. How can they grow their brand and business and not give a shit?
Hey, I'm not CEO of a major multi-billion-dollar corporation, but damn, it don't even feel like Twitch's CEO is doing a good job. At least, it's certain stuff, it feels like Twitch is sabotaging themselves. It's crazy to watch.
About your personal feelings. Do with that information as
it feels like we gonna read a book about Twitch's self-sabotage in a decade or some shit.
You please, you want
written by the CFO, not CEO or some shit.
Want to check out YouTube more? Check out this video here.
Hey, dope video, Biggie. Dope video. All right, what are we watching next? Shit. Well, we on the business topic right now. We're on a business topic right now. Let's watch why Uber won't exist in 5 years. Let's get it.
In a few years, as it's becoming clear that Uber's not going to exist in a few years, as it's becoming clear that Uber is in very deep trouble after more than 3,000 layoffs, the closure of dozens of their offices.
Damn, when the hell was this released? Damn.
And the company's stock value falling by 2/3 in only a year, it's becoming very clear that...
Well, I mean, one thing that I've always thought about Uber for a long time is how the hell they're not profitable yet. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I missed it somewhere, but from my understanding, they're still not profitable yet. It's like Airbnb, a whole bunch of these companies, talking about these are unicorn this, unicorn that. I ain't never seen people give more money to companies that's not profitable in my life. It's unreal.
Uber is on its final legs. But how did such a promising company sink so low? Why is their stock continuing to fall?
Oh shit, is that in the video? I thought I was getting abducted by aliens.
Even after the company has finally managed to become profitable? What made the Uber empire crash down into the ground? Well, the first reason lies in Uber's business model. You see, from the start, the company's general way of doing business is by acting as a middleman between drivers and passengers. As we all know, a user simply enters their location and...
That idea seems like it would be an amazing business model. Because if you do that well, you have minimal upfront costs. You have the software upkeep. You don't have physical cars. You don't have none of the other shit. As soon as Uber got into self-driving cars, all the other shit, I get it's innovative. But damn, bro, make sure you got the money and you can keep them costs low.
And destination, and then
Like, if you're gonna invest in self-driving cars, do it and do it well. It has to work.
A nearby driver can accept the trip. Once the trip's over, the payment is done through the app and no money changes hands at any point. After the trip, both the drivers and passengers give each other ratings. And at first, this business model seems great.
I never knew the drivers gave me ratings. Shit, I ain't had no complaints yet. Oh, my rating's good.
Completely revolutionized the taxi industry. Uber is a much more convenient way of getting a taxi.
They probably said he quiet as hell. He don't like talking. Don't ask this man questions.
Compared to all the other options. With just the press of a few buttons, you don't have to go through the hassle of calling up a taxi company. However, while this looks great on the outside, this business model is much more sinister than it first seems. For starters, Uber prefers for their drivers to be viewed as independent contractors rather than actual employees, meaning that technically, Uber doesn't have to pay any of their drivers a minimum wage, nor do they have to pay sick pay or any other kind of benefits whatsoever. Uber also doesn't own any of the vehicles and won't cover maintenance, fuel, or anything else. All of these burdens rest on the shoulders of their drivers. And from a purely economical standpoint, this business model is revolutionary.
You have to pay them well above minimum wage if you're going to cross out every single one of these boxes, because you need your drivers in order for you to have a business. That's fucking square one. Like, you got to raise the fees for the passengers. Like, I can say I benefited from a cheap ass Uber too. Shit, when I used to work my old job, it was either $110 taxi or like $35 Uber. You know which one I was taking. Like, this, you can't do that, bro. Can't do
Revolutionary. It's great for Uber because they don't have to pay their workers nearly as much as the traditional taxi services.
But that's the thing, they don't need to pay them shit. Like, you're not paying them shit. Like, Uber was above the taxi business as soon as they dropped it. As soon as they dropped Uber. If they came out with the same prices as the standard taxi business, Uber would have been just fine. No question about it.
However, Uber's problem was that lots of this was actually illegal. In fact, from the get-go, Uber's practices were illegal in San Francisco where they originated from, something that would quickly come back to bite Uber. However, back when Uber was founded, regulators hadn't caught on to their tactics yet, and so Uber had a very small period to monopolize the taxi industry and become too big to stop. And so in order to take over the taxi industry, the company would make many sacrifices by taking on heavy financial losses early on, all in the name of continuing their expansion. The only thing keeping Uber afloat was the large investments they were receiving, as Silicon Valley was betting that Uber was going to monopolize the modern transportation service industry. And if Uber was...
Man, if my black ass started a business that was illegal, they'd have been on me hour one. As soon as I went to try to hire a developer, bro, that shit crazy.
Able to secure a monopoly, they would eventually become...
But that's Silicon Valley, bro. It ain't no secret. White people create businesses left and right. It doesn't even have to be a good business plan. They can get funding compared to the black entrepreneur who tries it. They might have the most revolutionary idea in the world, and it's a million times harder to get funding for the same business. That's unreal.
Extremely profitable. If they were the only...
I wish the SEC, bro. I want to see the SEC let a black founder go public with a business model that's not profitable. Come on, we want to talk equity in business. Let's talk.
Only option on the market, Uber can then jack up the prices without worrying about being undercut by the competition. In fact, a monopoly was necessary for Uber due to the extremely thin profit margins that their business model gave them. However,
didn't they have competitors doing the same thing elsewhere as well?
Companies' lack of profitability didn't faze Uber or their investors. They were putting all their chips on the rapid growth. And for a while this paid off. In just a few short years, Uber services had been rolled out across the world. This was a genius strategy in a lot of ways, and this was all coming from one man known as Travis Kalanick, one of the key founders who created Uber. And it was also because of Kalanick that Uber became such a controversial company. But back in the early years of Uber, and the negative press towards the company wasn't anywhere near what it is today. In fact, at the time, Kalanick was a business prodigy. Under his leadership, Uber successfully expanded from a small San Francisco startup to a global sensation. And the strategy behind this was fairly simple. As we've discussed, Uber's business model was genius. Genius in the sense that they didn't have to pay their workers properly. And at the same time, Uber would offer insanely cheap deals to entice people to use their...
That's the thing. It didn't even have to be like it could have. I'm not finna say it was genius. Like, a white man creates a business and it's genius all the time, but a black man creates a business, it's not. Like, let's continually talk funding. Let's talk about data and real numbers. Like, it's not arbitrarily genius just because he says it's genius. Like, this shit is unreal. This shit is absolutely unreal.
It wasn't uncommon for your first
no investor was like, is this sustainable for you to not pay your drivers accordingly? No investor was gonna think that. Wait, you're not covering their cars. You're not covering their insurance. You're not covering their time off. You're not gonna cover like their gas. None of it. No investor thought about that.
First Uber trip to be free, or for the company to give you referral bonuses if you manage to get your friends to try out the app. These marketing methods exploded Uber's user base, with all of this only being possible due to the giant influx of angel investors flowing into the company. Without the investors, Uber would be nothing. And as Uber started catching on, the app would only become more and more popular, becoming a central part of millions of lives, allowing Uber to have substantial bargaining power later down the line. It seemed like everything was perfect for Uber. They had established themselves so tightly in modern society that it became so much harder for a city to ban or regulate Uber. This aggressive and borderline illegal strategy led to unprecedented growth, but it wouldn't take long for the consequences to catch up with Uber, because Uber's aggressive expansion had given Uber a lot of enemies. The first of these was San Francisco's local government. After the government started noticing how Uber was skirting regulations, they sent the company a cease and desist letter with substantial penalties if they did not comply. The notice threatened $5,000 fines for every trip and a possible 3-month jail sentence for every day the company continued operating. Now, for most people, this would have completely destroyed the company, but not Uber. Instead of abiding by the government's demands, Uber just continued operating.
Was their CEO, Travis Kalanick, was he part of like that PayPal cohort? So if he was, I think he already had that. He might have been able to fund that himself, and then you got investment dollars on top of that. They were fine.
As Uber had already entrenched themselves so deeply into San Francisco, they were now coming to control the entire transportation market. Knowing how much power they now had, Uber released a press statement that snubbed the orders, stating, "Uber is a first-to-market, cutting-edge transportation technology, and it must be recognized that the regulations from both city and state regulatory bodies have not been written with these innovations in mind. As such, we are happy to help educate the regulatory bodies on this new generation of technology." This early
lobbying
statement from Uber was symbolic. It summarized their entire business model. Uber completely rejected the law and had an almost pompous attitude in saying that we are happy to, quote, educate the San Francisco government. However, this incident would only be the first of Uber's many brushes with the law, and this was all trickling down from Kalanick's leadership. Before he founded Uber, Kalanick previously started a company called Scour, but he had to shut it down after he was fined billions for copyright infringement. Kalanick never paid the full amount, of course, but this showed that he wasn't
what have I been saying all night, bro?
Afraid of breaking the rules, and breaking the rules was exactly what Uber was doing. After establishing themselves in 2011 across the US, the taxi industries were certainly
inequities, man.
Not happy with this. How could they compete with Silicon Valley funded, below minimum wage drivers who were completely outcompeting the taxi industry? The entire US taxi industry realized that if they couldn't put a stop to Uber, all of them would be out of business. Because of the pressure from these taxi organizations and other industry leaders, new legal measures were enacted across 15 major US
The taxi companies had their lobbyists too.
Cities, which included rules.
It's like
that seemed to be targeted directly towards Uber. For example, the government made it illegal to use a GPS as a meter for calculating drivers' fares. Additionally, cab drivers using their phone while driving was now forbidden, even if they were only using it for the Uber app. However, this didn't faze Uber. They'd already bypassed the San Francisco government. The Uber leadership realized that
not bypassed. Hey, buddies. Hey, who the hell is Moon, bro? Spot Media, compare news cover, Spot Media, but be well informed. Alright, bro. The way Buddy is wording this shit, though.
They had so much.
My man isn't called Travis Kalanick a genius. My man had been fined billions and it fucked around and said, nah, San Francisco government, we ain't gotta listen to that. That's crazy.
Power over the transportation industry that nothing could hold them back, not even the government. But one thing the company couldn't ignore was a class action lawsuit from over 350,000 former and current Uber drivers. The 2013 lawsuit suggested that Uber owed the drivers a minimum wage as well as sick pay while working for the company.
Dog. That's what I'm saying. No investor saw this coming. Right? Gee. Or maybe they did, and they just said, well, we can just pay for better lawyers. And some of this shit is wild, dog. Wild.
This case would then drag out for years. Uber would use the best lawyers possible, and eventually settled out of court with only a small portion of the claimants for around $20 million. These issues slowly became incredibly common for Uber.
That's not right. There's a place for companies to do what's right by their employees, bro. Like, it should not always be about the profits. It's messed up. That's messed up, bro. Like, I'm not of the mindset that like capitalism will completely shut down and that this system and state will cease to exist. I don't think that's, I don't see that happening, at least not in my mind, in my lifetime. But what I do see and what I do think is possible, like, if a company is going to function in this capitalistic system, like, you have to do it, you have to do it right. Like, you have to care about people in the meantime. Like, you can't just care about yourself, care about your bottom line, and then say, fuck the people who made you billions. Like, that's wild, bro. That's wild. They've spent all that money on lawyers just to pay people $20 million. Bro, get out of here, dog. That's crazy.
And the company was now starting to hemorrhage a lot of money. However, for now, this didn't matter. All that mattered was that Uber would expand across the world and monopolize the taxi industry. If they could do this, they would be $1 billion company. Of course, by this point, Uber was nowhere near being a profitable company, but this isn't exactly unusual for tech startup.
Again, but that's what's wild, bro. Like, you would think that like tech startups like would be the ones that like have the most evergreen runway for profitability. Like, your costs are low. Like, maybe it's a skills issue where you have to pay developers and this and that. You gotta, like, I get that, but you create a platform one time, you upkeep it, maybe add updates with the product, whatever. Like, imagine like a candle company where they gotta buy wax, they gotta buy jars, they gotta buy X, Y, and Z. Like, at the end of the day, like, the fact that tech startups can just continually just not be profitable and just say like, we have a vision. Like, dog, if my cousin down the street came up to me and said, hey bro, I ain't got a job, I don't know what I'm doing, bro, but like, I got a vision that one day, if you give me this $1,000 right now, I turn into $10,000. It's like, dog, what? Like, but people be doing it left and right in tech. Like, it's wild, bro. It's wild. Like, I get sometimes it takes more time, but some of the bros, dog.
The general
I'm gonna
model
leave that there. That's crazy.
for these businesses is to operate on a loss for multiple years in
And I love tech. So the
exchange for user growth. As once you've built the client base, the business can eventually loss for multiple years. Unusual for tech startups. The general model for these businesses is to operate on a loss for multiple years in exchange for user growth. As once you've built the client base, the business can eventually be made extremely profitable.
But that was not Uber's business model. Uber has customers. Uber was the market leader from the jump. Uber overtook the taxi companies overnight, and then still they were so far away from profitability. Like this don't make sense. This was not Uber. This was not their business model. If it was, again, investors, what the hell was you doing?
It's the same with WhatsApp, Discord, or like how Amazon was running on a loss for years before it came to dominate the economy.
How much was that loan Jeff Bezos got from his peoples?
And it seemed like Uber was following this.
But he started in the garage with his put his boots all the way up. You don't put another boot all the way up. And he just started Amazon in his garage. Oh, this is the American dream. Get out of my face.
This trajectory, or so it seemed, because there were a few key reasons why this dream would never come to fruition for Uber, which leads us on to the second reason for why Uber is collapsing, and that point being that they actually failed to ever gain a monopoly.
Duh, like every single other tech startup, they all say we're just going to get total market share. Uber had the number one market share, but like, did they really just expect there was going to be no competition? Like, dog.
If you've been following my videos, I'm sure you know how suspicious I am of mainstream media, because oftentimes mainstream media can be the biggest impediment to understanding the truth and keeping you stuck in ideological bubbles. Ground News shows you how breaking news is being covered across the political spectrum. They do this by gathering news from 50,000 sources around the world. It was revolutionary.
Hey, I get my man's got to make his bread. Hey, I ain't getting paid from that ad, unfortunately, so I'm sorry, dog.
Outsiders working to make the
shit. Y'all see this down here? Clearly, I'm not the only one.
news more transparent. Now back to the video. At first, Uber really did make up the entire market of this public transportation method, which is why Uber was finding so much success during the initial phase of its operations. Uber's system was the first of its kind. It was revolutionary. Until a competitor was launched, Uber essentially had a monopoly on this type of business model. Shutting down any kind of competition was key to ensuring longevity for the company. And if Uber played their cards right,
you can't just shut down every single competition. Like when you see, it's a thing, tech startups, bro, like it's like if Uber didn't have a patent, clearly. Shit, wasn't Uber a copycat of somebody else doing it over in Europe? Like, maybe I'm wrong on that front, but dog, like you can't, if you don't got a patent on it, like dog, come on. You can't just shut down everybody who comes.
it was possible.
Shit, look at Oracle and Salesforce, bro. CEO of Salesforce left Oracle to just do it a little bit different. Like
for them to keep them.
Oracle's probably like, we'll just shut it down. I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't in the meetings, but
monopoly on this kind of public transportation. This could be done through methods like making deals with taxi companies or by offering better wages and service prices than any of their competition could afford. However, this wasn't the case. Uber's leadership was infatuated with the idea of disrupting the taxi industry rather than securing their foothold in the market. And it was because of this ill-advised mindset that.
But he just said the whole thought to profit and goal to profitability was messing around and just getting market share. That's contradicting statements. Maybe that they told investors one thing and then leadership did something different, but this shit don't make sense.
The competitors soon began popping up, and Uber would start to lose their footing as the undisputed king of public transportation apps. The main competition came in the form of Lyft, the second ride-sharing app and Uber's long-standing rival. Uber was Coke and Lyft was Pepsi. Lyft was marketing themselves as the underdog and a friendlier alternative compared to Uber. Lyft would focus on reducing the anonymity between drivers and passengers, while also making user trip statistics as detailed as possible. Lyft was also prioritizing the implementation of extra safety features for their drivers, such as yearly background checks and a mandatory anti-sexual assault training program. But Lyft wasn't the only one. Soon there would be a bunch of apps all competing for Uber's market share.
Never heard of this. Never, definitely heard of that or that. Heard of Kurt.
Such as Bolt, who focused on the European, Latin American, and Near East markets.
Okay, is that the one that Uber kind of took the idea from?
You see, in recent years, Bolt has expanded their operations to 45 countries and over 100 million customers. While these similar companies are all facing problems with legal regulations, their approach to expansion was much less aggressive than Uber's. Along with this new competition, Uber was also having issues making their entry into other countries. The legality in some countries made it either difficult or completely impossible for Uber to operate in some areas. Because Uber is a direct competitor to taxis, the app is banned in many locations. Germany, Portugal, and Italy have all partially banned Uber, while places like Denmark and Hungary have completely outlawed Uber, mainly due to the app stripping money that could be instead going towards taxi organizations as well as the government. And where Uber has been banned, other companies have now stepped in to fill the gap. For example, in Budapest, Bolt has thrived where Uber has been outlawed. Even in Denmark, where ride-hailing services are universally banned, Bolt has a fleet of e-bikes for hire. Not to mention Bolt Food, which has taken over the European markets by.
What do I always say? Like, you have to be ready to innovate. You have to be ready to adapt. Like, what's the biggest change Uber's made? Uber Eats? Can y'all tell me something else? Well, now the packaging thing, but like, shit, Uber been around for damn near 10, 15 years, however long it's been around at this point. Like, probably definitely not no 15, but like Uber been around for a minute now, like.
Storm.
And now we get packages. Like, damn, dog. Like,
a consequence of all this competition.
Bolt got food, they got bikes, they probably got packages.
Is that
they got the cars still, like.
Disrupted what was supposed to be Uber's endgame. This solid competition has killed any dream that Uber once had of a full monopoly on the ride-hailing industry. This was essential.
But for the most part, they still got in the United States. Like, you don't have to be like. I guess their investors want them to be the biggest company in the world, but it's not happening, unfortunately. Hey, it's still time to turn around. I think any company can turn around, to be candid with you. Like, you just make the right decisions. But
essential for Uber's business strategy to work. Without a monopoly, their plan is
it's not essential.
Missing a crew.
Like, you can adapt, you can get the US market first and then strategically break into other markets. It's possible. It's not easy under any stretch of the imagination, but it's definitely possible.
Aspect. But it was
realize there's so many companies, like, shit, look at the African continent. Like, the African continent has so much, like, it's the next tech hub, the next innovation hub. Like, there's millions of smaller and medium markets for any company to break into. Like, maybe not millions, but a whole lot of other markets for companies to break into. And you don't need to take over Missouri. Maybe you just get St. Louis. You don't need to, there's ways to do it.
It wasn't just the competition.
And we see small startups do it every single day.
That stood between Uber and a monopoly. As everywhere Uber expanded, they would cause unrest, protests, and violence, which would soon become the third reason for Uber's downfall, their public perception. You see,
and then maybe are we just assuming that Uber is just going to be the same Uber in 20 years from now that it is today? No, like, in 20 years, if Uber's still around, like, ride sharing isn't going to be their core business model. I guarantee it. I don't know all the details what Uber Freight is doing. Like, he hasn't brought up Uber Freight once. Like, maybe that's Uber's big, like, cash cow. Like, we look at Amazon, it's not e-commerce. Look at how much money Amazon's making from AWS. Like, we don't think of that when we think of Amazon. Like,
they're reckless.
Amazon was ready to let Whole Foods grocery store become like their next big cash cow. Like, there's other. It's not impossible.
This expansion was leaving a wake of destruction. Uber's continuing war with the taxi industry was playing a massive part in this. On January 26th in 2016, over 2,000 French taxi drivers protested Uber's presence in Paris. They did this by blocking the roads, which quickly brought the city centre to a standstill. And what began as a relatively peaceful protest quickly turned violent. Over 20 taxi drivers were arrested for crimes like assault and arson, all targeted at Uber drivers. But it was only until recently that the full details were uncovered on how far Uber had gone to instigate the growing tensions and violence coming from taxi organizations. Mark McGann, a whistleblower and former Uber lobbyist, gave a clear window into Kalanick's and the company's tactics by leaking a set of documents that was coined the Uber Files. Thousands of these documents were leaked to The Guardian and later published in spring of 2022. The Uber Files detailed a plethora of reckless and negligent decisions coming from the company's upper management. And the name that came up the most in these leaked papers? CEO Travis Kalanick, who was quoted as saying this about the violent protests in France. Quote, "I think it's worth it. Violence guarantees success. And these guys must be resisted, no? Agreed that the right place and time must be thought out. Uber's mission."
This clown think he a dictator, bro? What? What?
Mission has always been to disrupt the taxi industry.
This shit is sickening, bro.
However, the Uber files make it clear that Kalanick and other executives at the company put the mission of agitation above the safety of their drivers. Not to mention the public. Uber's questionable reasoning.
And so he could just sit back and make more billions off the drivers that he wants to pay less than minimum wage. Dog. Get the fuck out of here, bro. What?
Behind sparking violence in the streets was that it would put pressure on regulators to inhibit taxi companies. Protests would lead to anti-taxi publicity, which would then cause regulators to sway towards Uber's side. However, this is a key reason that Uber is currently in deep trouble. The singular focus that Kalanick brought with him was excellent for the company's expansion, yet he was more of a wartime leader rather than a peacetime one. And so once the time came for Uber to consolidate their hold on the transportation industry, they had already built up too much bad blood with the wrong people. The taxi companies they fought for years weren't very interested in making compromises once they knew they could survive Uber's innovations. All around the world, violence was erupting between taxi drivers and Uber drivers. In places like Cancun and Mexico, Uber drivers would actually be hunted down and even murdered by the Mexican taxi mafia. However, the Uber files make clear that Uber has no problem with this. They will take advantage of these seemingly isolated incidents, all to be on top. For example, in early 20...
That's crazy, bro. They was so content on getting a bag off the lives and backs of these other people, bro.
2015,
Unreal,
an Uber
bro.
driver was assaulted by some masked men armed with knuckle dusters and a hammer who were believed to be taxi drivers. Uber's regional executives discovered the...
Like, that's the thing. Like, let's not call this man a genius, bro. Let's not call this man a genius. Like, he literally said, let's take the idea of a taxi, but put it on your phone. Whoa! I've never thought of anything such amazing. Like, what?
emails about how best to use the scenario to
like at the end of the day, I guarantee you other people with those ideas. I have amazing ideas. At least I like to think I have amazing ideas. But the difference is, like, black founders don't get investment dollars. Like, I have startup ideas that I want to launch one day, but guess what? I want to be careful with it. Because one, at this point, I don't know if I even want investment dollars, because I don't want to be accountable to investors who are totally cool with me saying violence is necessary and guarantee success. Like, I don't want that. That shit's crazy. I don't want that. But at the same time, like, it's discouraging, bro. Like, he gets called a genius when he gets an idea, but it's just because he's going to get more money from it. Like, you tell me, like, would you give your money to somebody who got billions of dollars worth of fines in their last business and was never able to pay them? Come on now. Come on now.
The victims in these cases were encouraged to file a police report.
Like the inequity in investment and in venture capital, and it's unreal, bro. It's unreal. And then the way some of these companies treat these people, bro, it's
the aim of getting it shared with the press.
It's
One
gross.
part of an Uber executive's email discussing this incident had this to say: "We keep the violence narrative going for a few days before we offer the solution. You see, all the violence, all the tension was just optics for Uber. They would incite violence and then do their best to spin the blowback to their own advantage. But if Uber was willing to incite violence to sway regulators, what else were they willing to do? Well, like all major corporations, Uber had an army of lobbyists that were eagerly waiting to put large sums of money into the right politicians' pockets. And as usual,
my assumption, I can't guarantee it, but my investors was cool with it. No question about it. It's okay.
This was extremely effective.
Because just like Travis Kalanick, they wanted their bag too.
There have been
That's the only thing they cared about.
Many instances of countries or cities moving to ban Uber, then pulling out at the last minute. But even when this method of financial incentive,
Like, if anybody's going to be responsible for people in a capitalistic society, it has to be the businesses. It has to. We understand our politicians care about money. We understand our businesses care about money. We understand, like, at every level, like, where do people come in? Like, these are people's lives. Like, we just think a couple taxi drivers died or were assassinated, or Uber drivers. Like, it's no. Like, them as people, think about, they got families, they got kids, they got parents, they got cousins, they got aunties, uncles, people at their church, people, their community. You don't know whose little dog they was walking every weekend. Like, it's like, these are whole people with whole lives. Like, We can't just dispose people just for a bag, bro. That shit's unreal. It's not right.
Incentivization worked out, it was still a massive expense for Uber. And whenever these attempts did fail, it ended up becoming more money that Uber sent down the drain. Uber, Lyft, and DoorDash combined.
And I like making money. Like, it's you can make money, but you don't have to do it like this, bro. This is wild. This shit is wild.
Have spent over $200 million attempting to force through a law that would strengthen all their grips on the gig economy. Known as Proposition 22, this would give additional benefits to these independent contractors, but the bill would ensure that workers are not labeled as employees. Uber even directly campaigned for this bill by advertising for it in their app. Despite substantial efforts from worker advocacy groups to prevent this proposition passed in November 2020, and for a moment it seemed like Uber's multi-million-dollar legal gamble had paid off. But only 6 months later after this verdict, the entire ruling was deemed unconstitutional and was subsequently nullified. This
unconstitutional? The Supreme Court don't even know what the fuck is constitutional. How the fuck?
Meant that Uber had wasted tens or potentially hundreds of millions of dollars, all for nothing. And to make matters even worse for Uber, this failed lobbying fell through during the height of the pandemic, when Uber's cash flow was already tanking due to the low demand for transportation. But one of the worst scandals for Uber were the allegations that were unconstitutional and were subsequently nullified. This meant that Uber had wasted tens or potentially hundreds of millions.
Wait, maybe I'm wrong. So was Uber behind Prop 22?
Over $200 million attempting to force through a law that was...
Of course I'm biased. Don't put in comments, oh, he's biased, he's making a decision, he's changing. Yes, I'm biased.
Strengthen all their grips on the gig economy. Known as
Proposition
22, this would give additional benefits to these independent contractors, but the bill would ensure that workers are not labeled as employees. Uber even directly campaigned for this bill by advertising for it in their app.
So Uber was for Prop 22.
Despite substantial efforts from worker advocacy groups to prevent this proposition passed in November 2020, and for a moment it seemed like Uber...
Wait, so it passed?
This multi-million-dollar legal gamble had paid off, but only 6 months later after this verdict, the entire ruling was deemed unconstitutional and was subsequently nullified. This meant that Uber had wasted tens or potentially...
I still don't know if it was constitutional or not. We use that word how we see fit when we see fit.
Actually, hundreds of millions of dollars, all for...
But I'm glad that shit was overruled.
Nothing. And to make matters even worse for Uber, this failed lobbying fell through during the height of the pandemic, when Uber's cash flow was already tanking due to the low demand for transportation. But one of the worst scandals for Uber were the allegations that would surface against a number of the company's top executives. In 2017, when a major sexual assault allegation went public, it would go on to further tarnish Uber's reputation even more.
I forgot about that, but I think when this dropped, I was still in college, and I literally we started using Lyft consistently because this shit was crazy. But if the dude says violence guarantees success, like he's the leader of the company. Hey, y'all know.
You see, earlier in the year, a blog post was written by...
I don't know how we expect someone who says that violence guarantees success. I don't know why we would expect them to care about women, other people in any other kind of way. Like,
by former Uber...
People are dying, bro. And the only thing on his mind was a bag, bro. Like, y'all remember when he went off on the driver, bro? Come on now. Like,
engineer Susan Fowler, who alleged a culture of toxicity, harassment.
Shout out to Susan, like, for going public with that. Like, you didn't have to do that. And I know that shit had to be hard as hell. Shout out to you, Susan.
And discrimination at the company. Uber responded to the outrage by ordering an inquiry into the assertion, and evidence was found that many of the company's executives were indeed complicit. But what many didn't suspect was that this behavior went straight to the top. Kalanick, along with 20 other top-level employees, were implicated and forced to sell all their Uber shares and immediately step down. Now,
he did all that evil shit and then had to give up his bag. Hey, shout out to the board. Shout out to the board. Was it the board? I'm assuming it was the board. Shout out to the board. But guess what? He probably started another company and went and got a big bag because he founded Uber. He's the genius who founded Uber and scoundrel, whatever the hell the other company. Bro.
Company that spoke
Shout
so
out to
highly
the
of
board for kicking that man out.
modernization
And sell your shares.
Was a massive
Sell his shares. So he made his bag. Fuck out of here.
blow to their public image, especially due to many of the public's fears of sexual assault with Uber drivers. Kalanick was already on thin ice for his aggressive company growth policy, and this incident was just the final nail in the coffin for his career.
But that's the thing, the company growth policy didn't make fucking sense. They're still not profitable.
At Uber. But since his departure, things really haven't gotten any better. Just last year in 2021, London moved.
It wasn't him. The business model isn't there. I'm still trying to figure out what the hell their business model is. Like how the hell is you not profitable and you're not even paying people minimum wage? What? Where the money going? Damn.
Move towards bringing much tighter regulations against Uber. The new legislation states that Uber must pay a minimum wage to the over 70,000 drivers in the UK, while also being required to provide holiday.
Yo, I love when people make their money, bro. Like when employees make their money. Because employees is the ones making this man his money left and right. And he just trying to treat them any kind of way, bro. Yup. Hey, shout out to the UK, whatever the regulation was. Hey, pay them people. And the thing is, we celebrating this, bro. This 70,000 drivers, minimum hourly wage, and holiday pay and pensions. Like, people fought for minimum wage, bro. Like, really think about that, bro. Like, do you realize how fucked up something must be in society when people have to fight for minimum wage? Like, when are we just gonna just say, and shit, we're all complicit, myself included. Like, when are we gonna say at some point, certain things are human rights? Like, we live in a capitalistic society. And I think we should even change the word minimum wage to livable wage, because that's a whole nother conversation. Like, people really had to fight to have food on the table. Think about it like that.
Is incredibly expensive relative to Uber's standard payment model, and will further eat.
I know how much money I make. I make well above minimum wage, and shit ain't all peaches and cream and roses and none of that. I can't imagine, bro.
Into any of the profits the company was hoping to make. Which brings us on to the fourth and final reason why Uber's in deep trouble. They just aren't profitable enough anymore. You see, all the legal fires that they have to put out.
Was they ever profitable? This is a question I asked when this shit started.
Continues to hold back their profit margins. And these margins were either thin or non-existent to begin with. The pandemic also hit Uber especially hard, as demand for ride-hailing services was falling sharply. Although the company has somewhat recovered in recent months, it certainly can't be called smooth sailing. Surprisingly, Uber managed to make a profit of roughly $50 million in the last quarter of 2021.
Whoa,
but they still have lost billions from
they made some money finally. No shout out to Uber
and other companies. And this newfound profitability is mostly a result of the price hikes that Uber has been implementing into their app in response to the growing issue of driver shortage.
Wow, they made price hikes because of driver shortages. Imagine, consumers wanted to pay. That's the wild part. I had when I worked my old job, bro, and I had $100+ taxi fare or a $30 Uber fare. Under no circumstances should I have been paying $30, bro. I would have gave my homeboy who gave me a ride $50 for that drive. Uber, bro. Consumers were willing to pay more for that ride off rip. Uber ain't even one of them things where college students is oh my God, I gotta get an Uber because it's cheap. No, we got Ubers Because it was on our phone. Like it wasn't even like if I could have ordered a taxi on the phone, I would have ordered a taxi on the phone.
Uber has pledged to raise their fares by 5% in London alone, and if other locations follow the UK's lead in forcing Uber
5% ain't even a lot, bro. Dog, 10, 20%
to treat drivers.
Right now, inflation going crazy. I can't even hold you. I can't even hold you because my grocery bill's a little bit wild. But Uber, y'all could have went up a lot more a long time ago.
Like employees, this will only mean more money lost for Uber. All of these problems just won't go away for Uber, and this is killing their worth as a company. Uber stock is currently sitting around $30 a share, but just a couple of years ago in early 2021, this was $60. And although Uber's recent profits could be seen as a good sign, it's still a long road to secure sustainable profits for the company. And that's why investors are pulling out of Uber. They've seen that Uber has failed to reach the monopoly it was destined for, and because of this, they're looking for alternatives. Although despite everything, there could possibly be a light at the end of the tunnel for Uber. Most of the company's problems are coming from their drivers, but with self-driving cars coming around the corner, and these problems might just be
problems are coming from it. Dog is wild, bro. I was about to give Buddy credit for a well-detailed video, but that statement is wild. He did not just call drivers a problem.
Temporary. A fleet of autonomous vehicles would add some much-needed stability to Uber's business model. But even this...
What about all those drivers, bro? They just had to go up on 70,000 drivers in the UK alone. Imagine all the drivers together in the United States. Come on now, bro. You wildin'. You wildin'. Self-driving cars is not... That's not the solution. Yes, it might be a solution to more profitability for Uber, but shit, I would pay more for a driver to help pay someone else's wage, bro, because that's the right fucking thing to do. Like, and it's like consumers been wanting companies just do the right thing for a long ass time. It ain't even that damn hard. Like, come on.
He might have its drawback.
Like, like consumers want you to do the right thing. We buy the products. Like, shit, give us the option to help y'all do the right thing. Raise the wages. Let the consumers pay a little bit more. And then maybe for the consumers who ain't got all the bread like that, you can have self-driving cars. And guess what? Uber can continue to make more profits. Might not be as fast, but I guess that's why they're publicly traded companies.
Right now, Uber doesn't have to pay any kind of maintenance or even fuel costs for the cars on their payroll, since that's all paid by the drivers instead. Uber would have to take on all these costs themselves if they switch to autonomous vehicles. Additionally, self-driving cars are a technology that still needs years of work before being truly safe. So even though this looks like a quick fix, it won't be materializing for Uber anytime soon. And this is a fact that Uber certainly knows all too well. In fact, in 2020, they pulled nearly all of their capital out of self-driving car research, even after
they put too much money into it in the first place, bro. Like every I don't know what it is about self-driving cars, but so many companies have been trying to do it for so long and nobody can break into it. I feel like there's some massive super glitch somewhere in self-driving cars where aliens and some shit just sitting like, y'all ain't ready for that technology yet. Because as much money is going into self-driving cars by so many companies, ain't nobody figured it out yet. Come on now, bro. Something's wild, bro. Uber, hey, take that Billy back out and put that back into your drivers, bro. Because self-driving cars, that ain't it. Just buy them shits from somebody else when somebody finally do figure it out. Aliens was a joke before y'all go crazy on the internet.
Spending billions on it. The program was already in jeopardy after a lack of results. But when one of Uber's prototype cars struck and killed a pedestrian in 2018, it was only a matter of time. But the incident still caused them to pull out of their ongoing research. And unfortunately for Uber, they don't have the money to burn on research anymore. Which is why the future is looking incredibly doubtful for Uber. After over a decade of seemingly non-stop controversy,
money to burn on research,
violence and chaos, the company's teetering on the brink of collapse, and only time will tell whether they can outlast the storm. But without
some business models just don't make sense, like from day one. But people be like, here goes $100 million. Like,
monopoly, self-driving cars, or mass deregulation, the company's survival seems more and more unlikely with every passing day.
Hey, Moon, you and your team put a lot of work into that video. Appreciate the video. I agree with a lot of shit you said, but hey, appreciate the work you put into the video. Thanks for the context. Yo, chat, I will be right back. I got to use the restroom. I'll be right back. And then we'll watch one more Friday night.
This is a homage beat.
chat. I'm back. Got some new water. Rehydrated. Second to last video tonight. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can watch me stream. Just subscribe, hit the notification button. You will see when I'm live streaming. But the next video we're watching for the night, second to last video of the night, 12 NBA superstars who randomly became bench players. That's crazy. Let's get it, y'all.
Today we look at 12 superstars who randomly became bench players. Now this is a normal part of the game. Stars usually get older or get some injuries and their games slowly drop off until they find themselves in a bench role. But these 12 guys, it happened to pretty randomly in the middle of their careers. To the point where
Blake Griffin was on the thumbnail. Yeah, Blake Griffin's like superstardom to bench was just kind of out of nowhere. Wild.
Why exactly that transition happened. So let's take a look. Starting first with Dwight Howard. Dwight's Orlando Magic days were something else.
Before we even get into Dwight, the Lakers do not win that bubble championship without Dwight Howard. Period. Coming off the bench.
He was one of the most dominant superstars in the history of the game. And then he leaves them and has never really been the same player. Don't get me wrong though, even though Dwight left the team and got buried by fans since then, for not being as good as they expected, he still wasn't bad by any means. He still was definitely a starter in this league, averaging 17 and 12 on the Lakers, 16 and 11
exactly.
for Houston, 13 and 12 for Atlanta, then 16 and 12 again for the Charlotte Hornets.
Dwight was hooping
game over that stretch as a starter. Then the very next full season that he plays, he's playing 18 minutes a game off the bench for the Lakers behind JaVale McGee. And I get it, it does make sense. He signed a minimum deal to win a championship and it worked. They actually won one. Plus JaVale just played better in the starting lineup anyways, which was why he was forced to come off the bench. I get why it happened, but it was just so random to see him averaging 16 and 12 in Charlotte, and then coming off the bench and putting up 7 points and 7 rebounds.
Hey, I don't know how many minutes he was playing, but 7 and basically 8 was not bad. We needed that from Dwight. Like, we needed that from Dwight that year.
And not even to mention how much
no question
that
about it
situation was for that to have been happening to him at only 34 years old, considering where he came from originally.
But they won a ring. Like, let's not act like they was trash. Like, real ring, fake ring, Skip Bayless. Like, hey, they won a ring, bro. They won in 2122. So 100 years from now, somebody, if the NBA is still around and they are looking at NBA stats, they won't care that it was a bubble championship. They won a ring. They won't even remember who them niggas played against.
Carmelo Anthony had a pretty similar story, but this was a lot harsher and more sudden. You see, Melo became a superstar in Denver and everyone loved it. He got to New York and continued to convince everyone that he was a superstar, and that his high-scoring games actually made his teams better. And that's proven by the fact that he was still an all-star every single year he was on the Knicks. And even though he had success, he wanted to compete for a title, so
yeah, Melo just kind of didn't have a job overnight. That shouldn't make no sense.
He moved over to the Thunder to play with Russ and PG, where there started to be real concerns about how the team would work out. And once it didn't, the truth really became clear that there was a Carmelo Anthony problem. And so much so that he was traded to the Houston Rockets at the end of the season. And that's where he got his...
But that wasn't even a Melo problem, if we being honest with y'all.
first taste of a bench role, but only for 8 games because he was pretty much waived after 10 of them. Then he sat out 9 months, fully healthy and ready to play, but no NBA team in the league wanted him on their roster until he was finally picked up by...
What's crazy is sometimes we see people on NBA rosters that have no business being on NBA rosters above other people. Like, the reason Isaiah Thomas doesn't have a job right now is beyond me. Like, his height, that's it. Like, come on now.
By Portland and has been coming off the bench ever since. Now listen, once the league saw Carmelo Anthony physically couldn't operate with other superstars, it was pretty much unanimously decided that he was now going to be a bench player at 34 years old. The whole thing, at least to me, was just all pretty random that it took Anthony winding up on a new team that he needed a new role. And Blake Griffin's another one that was just really strange. The 2018-19 season was a huge one for him. He was traded to the Detroit Pistons and had a breakout year, averaging career highs and making the All-Star team for the first time in a few seasons. But then he gets hurt at the end of the season and requires left knee surgery. He then barely plays the next year after needing a second surgery on the same knee. And when he finally makes his return over a year and a half later, he comes out starting for Detroit, putting up 12 points and 5 rebounds a game. And because he played so bad, his contract was bought out, and then he winds up playing for the Brooklyn Nets, where he takes a minimum deal for 2 reasons. Because his other deal was just bought out and he wanted to win a championship. Well, right away in his very first game for the Nets, he dunks for the first time in over 2 years. So we start to get the idea that the old Blake's back, but instead he instantly comes off the Nets bench for the rest of the year, and his numbers continue to drop. Then the same exact thing happened in 2022, even though he's only 31 years old. I think some people anticipated that after getting fully healthy, things would get back on the right track for him, but they just never did, and now he's gonna stay a bench player from here on out.
It's
and
crazy.
Now with him signing with
It's so crazy what a no audio right? Yeah, it's so crazy what an injury will do to you. Because like when Blake Griffin was like earlier in his career, the upside for Blake Griffin was just like phenomenal. Like it was like, this dude is gonna be one of the, maybe not the all-time greats, but he's gonna be up there. Like, it's crazy.
that only backs up the fact that he'll probably never start again. Now, Jabari Parker was never a superstar, but
I think that's a testament to like
instead,
NBA players, like in the fact he even get that
now,
far.
It didn't help his case that his first 3 seasons
everything
were
has to go
riddled with
right.
injuries, and he never had much of a chance to get anything going. And it was his 4th year at only 22 years old where he got his first taste of coming off the bench. In year 3, he got hurt, and by the time he came back in year 4, Giannis had just transitioned to power forward, so there was no chance he was going to wind up in the starting lineup. For him, so given the team's new situation, they didn't need Jabari anymore, so they just let him walk and sign with the Bulls, who didn't have him start any games either, even though he was putting up good numbers at the time given the circumstances. But it didn't stop there, because afterwards, once he played for the Wizards, Hawks, Kings, and Celtics, he only started 23 games in 4 years. And ever since losing a starting spot to Giannis, has definitely always been a bench guy. Everything with his career was just a really strange way for our former number 2 pick to fall off. Now, Rajon Rondo's case is a little bit more complicated. You see, he was the young and up-and-coming star during the Celtics 2008 championship, and soon after, he developed into one of the best point guards in the NBA. In fact, there was even a debate for years on if Rondo or Chris Paul was the best point guard in the league in the early 2010s. He could defend, rebound, pass, and lead a team like very few others. But ever since leaving the Boston Celtics, he was never the same player in any aspect aside from passing. And why is that? Why did he leave the Celtics, then seemingly randomly fall off just 3 years later, and turn into a bench player even though he was in his prime at 32 years old? Well, it's a couple of things. He tore his ACL
Won the amazing team he had around him with the Celtics
in 2013, which just so happened to be the last time he was ever an all-star. The injury really set his career back. It took his athleticism and some capabilities on defense. Then I also think it's no coincidence that the year he was traded away from Boston was the same year Steph Curry won MVP and changed the league forever in terms of three-point shooting, to which Rondo was shooting 1.5 threes a game at the time on 30%, which is a big reason he's never looked the same since his Boston days. The game just changed in a way that really hurt him. So with that and his injury, he just kind of got left behind. Knowing the league today though, it's hard to believe that not too long ago a point guard could simply not shoot threes at all and it not be a problem. Roy Hibbert was another recent one, but he wasn't affected by injuries at all. And his sudden downfall was so dramatic, he just straight up retired at 30 years old after it happened. And he wasn't necessarily a superstar, but he was a star player for a little bit there. He was a key piece to some serious Indiana Pacers teams. And the fact that Roy was a 7'2" big man shot blocker made him one of the biggest threats at the center position. But he was your traditional big man. He played around the basket, didn't have a jump shot, but really helped the team out. And in 2014, he had one of his best years, making the All-Star team, helping the Pacers finish to almost 60 wins, and making the conference finals. But it was in that very postseason where his downfall started, where when playing against the Atlanta Hawks, they started playing 5 guards, virtually taking him out of the game, leaving him with nights where he'd put up 0 points and 0 rebounds because he just couldn't get anything going. And then the next year was when Steph Curry changed the game, and it was so bad that Roy got traded that season for a 2nd round pick. So he went from an all-star in 1 year, getting traded for a 2nd round pick the next. And then in that year 3, he found himself coming off the bench playing 16 minutes a game. And when he realized what had happened to him in his career, he just straight up retired. So it was a really strange transition for Hibbert. Now it's even more strange that at the same time, another traditional big man like Hassan Whiteside was actually still able to make things work. And as a matter of fact, he excelled in the league even after the Steph Curry era started, where in the 2015 season he broke out, averaging 14 points and 4 blocks a game, getting Heat fans and even management hyped up that they found their next star. So much so that they gave Hassan a 4-year, $100 million contract. So the next year was even better because he put up 17 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 blocks a game. Heat fans were excited, but then he kinda got exposed. Ever since that career year, it started becoming more and more clear that his game hadn't actually been helping the team all that much. His shot blocking looked great on paper, but given the fact that he gave up more plays than he helped, due to just trying to block every single shot, it wasn't a good look. And then there started to be questions about his work ethic and motivation. So Whiteside stayed a starter while his contract was still in effect, but as soon as it ran out, he had to sign a 1-year minimum deal for the Sacramento Kings to come off the bench for the Kings. So yeah, that's bad. How do you fall off that much in a 4-year span? I mean, maybe just ask Chandler Parsons. Now, the first 5 years of his career were great. He played on the Rockets and the Mavs, and he looked like a solid up-and-coming player. He played smart and his numbers were good, but then he got to the Grizzlies, where he became one of the most hated players in their franchise's history, because the team signed him to a 4-year, $96 million deal, and he played 95 total games for them. Because the man had like 12 knee injuries within a 3-year span, so obviously any 4-year, $96
That man
million
made $1
deal.
million
He played
a
95
game.
Total games for them. Because the man had like 12 knee injuries within a 3-year span, so obviously anytime he would return from one, they'd only bring him in off the bench. So he didn't really contribute to the team, and injury after injury piled up until he was traded to the Hawks because they just wanted to get rid of him. And once he was there, he played the worst of his career for 5 games before he was hit by a drunk driver. May or may not have suffered career-ending injuries and retired during the season at 31 years old. Listen, some people say that it was the Crash's fault that he retired, but he was already on his way out. He played like a future all-star for years, then his knees just randomly gave out on him. Andre Iguodala's transition to a bench role was pretty weird too. He played as the star of Philly for years after AI left the team.
Hey, LeBron fans who watched that 2016 finals understand Iggy. Iggy got finals MVP for letting LeBron average a triple-double. Debate in the comments.
And he was a strange one because he was never really a huge scorer, but he still led his team, especially on defense. And a perfect example of that was his last year in Philly, when he made the All-Star team only averaging 12 points a game. He went to Denver the next year and turned the entire team around, bringing them 20 extra wins once he got there, and 20 less wins right after he left for the Golden State Warriors. And up until this point, he had started every single game of his career, with him never having come off the bench. But then Steve Kerr one day chose to make that transition for him, and well, it paid off. He was a
Steve Kerr's a great coach,
and obviously helped the team to multiple championships, barely ever starting another game again. But the move to the bench did make sense given his lack of scoring and all. Kevin Love made that transition of his own this past season, and he also became runner-up for the 6th Man of the Year award. It was really confusing to see him stuck on the Cavs for years after LeBron left while the team was terrible, and it was odd for him too to see him start coming off the bench 13 years into his career when he still had a lot left to offer. But it made total sense seeing Jared Allen and Evan Mobley in the starting lineup, and it made even more sense when you saw the Cavs play this year. I mean, I knew Kevin Love wasn't the type of player he used to be, but seeing him transition to not being a starter anymore did kind of throw me off guard, because to be the guy that was once a superstar for Minnesota to now being a 6th man just took some adjusting, but was definitely the right move. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.
Yeah, that was fire. That was fire. Yo, if y'all enjoyed the stream tonight, we'll be live again on Friday. Thank y'all for tuning in. Yeah, I'll be having a good time with y'all. Y'all have a good night. Peace.